Thanks so much for joining us tonight on Fox 17 News at 6. I'm Andy Szatkowski.
And I'm Doug Reardon.
A mother in Montcalm County is facing murder and child abuse charges following the death of her 3-month-old son. But Michigan State Police believe there could be even more victims out there. We begin this hour with breaking news. We're learning 7 people are injured after 2 cars crashed into a Wyoming bank. Let's take a look. The Attorney General's office calling just one witness today, Amanda Tomashow, who saw Dr. Larry Nassar right here at MSU in 2014. Berrien County prosecutors say she was having an affair, adding that she and her lover plotted to kill him. It's been a nice break from all the snow, the ice, and temperatures below 0.
Yeah, and so as long as we don't...
He said that Mother Nature could do whatever it wants, but we're like, Danny, please don't. Just
exactly.
leave it alone.
Gymnastics on the Grand is happening this weekend. 2,400 gymnasts will be there. Doors open 7:30 Friday morning.
3, 2, 1. Oh!
All right, well, it turns out after all this time, you might be storing some of your groceries wrong. Well, if you have any debris in your yard left behind by last week's ice storms, the city of Grand Rapids will clear it out for you, but if you dispose of it properly.
And so we're going to give people an idea of what it would be like to do a round with you guys. This is a model. So let's start at the bag here.
Okay.
So let's go.
All right, 7, 7, 7, 7.
A hand cyclist in Kalamazoo is ready for the biggest challenge of his life, but he needs a little bit of help to get there.
Yeah.
These temperatures are so dangerous that you can get frostbite after just 10 or 15 minutes.
That's
Ty.
right.
Along those same lines, police in Portage have arrested 3 teenagers in 2 separate cases. First here at 5, nearly 1 year after MSU's interim president John Engler took on the job, he's now stepping down. The student accused of shooting and killing his own parents on the campus of Central Michigan University last year, pleading not guilty by reason of insanity today. Derek Janis, this nearly 150-page lawsuit lays out the alleged abuse suffered by a field hockey athlete, Erica Davis, and what they say is MSU's mishandling of the case and others like it ever since.
Great story. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Doug Reardon.
And I'm Andy Szatkowski. This is Fox 17 News at 5.
From the station with the most local news, Fox 17 News at 5 starts right now.
Well, first tonight at 5, the polar vortex, of course, closing schools for multiple days last week, but this week they still can't catch a break, even in this warm weather.
No, it's from one extreme to the other, and neither one is helping. Ionia Public Schools was closed today and will be again tomorrow.
All right, turning things over to weather now. This is a attempted live look over downtown Grand Rapids. As you can see, or not see rather, definitely foggy and wet out there, and that's pretty much been the case all day.
Yeah, that about sums it up, doesn't it? Meteorologist Ty Szatkowski is in the Weather Center. Ty, the Fox 17 problem solvers taking a trip to the Kent County Courthouse and confronting a man that was previously featured for bad business practices.
Fox 17 problem solver Darren Cunningham joins us live in studio, and Darren, tens of thousands of dollars on the line in this one. And police in Kalamazoo have identified the victim of a deadly house fire over the weekend. They're now calling that fire suspicious. 31-year-old Zachariah Hayes was found dead inside that home on Wallace Avenue around 2 a.m. Sunday. Crews say they had a hard time finding him because there was evidence of hoarding in the home and the roof had collapsed. We're told an autopsy has already been performed, but more tests are needed. If you know anything, please call police or Silent Observer. Well, man is in custody after allegedly running from police and dragging one officer from his vehicle. It happened in Constantine when an officer pulled over a vehicle for a license plate violation. The driver of that car then backed into a patrol cruiser and then drove off, hitting another deputy's cruiser in the process. Police fired 1 shot at the vehicle but did not hit the driver. He then led officers into Indiana before crashing. It turns out that vehicle was stolen out of Colorado. The suspect is being held on warrants out of Indiana, but will also face charges here in Michigan as well.
Well, fire captain in Comstock Township is fighting the biggest battle of his life.
He is in need of a liver transplant, but thankfully he didn't have to look too far to find a donor. Our Lauren Edwards joins us live after speaking with him and the man who is about to save his life. So incredible, Lauren. Like she said, they're already family. Now they're going to be a little bit closer.
Yeah, I can't get much closer than that.
Pretty cool. We'll still ahead tonight at 5. The biggest game of the season officially in the books. So how did America enjoy the ads?
Might actually surprise you. The commercials generating the biggest buzz on social media coming up next.
News at 5 starts right now.
First tonight at 5, a synagogue in Battle Creek vandalized for the second time in a matter of weeks.
Officials there found a symbol spray painted on the building over the weekend, and now police are wondering if it could be a possible hate crime. Our Lauren Edwards joins us live in Battle Creek with the latest. Lauren.
This is a live look from our mobile weather tracker. They are cruising along in Zeeland. We're told it's pretty slick out there, and of course, we're going to check in with our crew in just a few minutes, but they're going at a pretty good clip.
Yeah, we sure will. But first, let's check in with meteorologist Szatkowski. He is here with us in the studio tonight. And Ty.
All right, Eric, drive carefully. Thank you. Michigan State University recreating a fund to help survivors of disgraced sports doctor Larry Nassar. The Board of Trustees voting unanimously this morning to reestablish the Healing Assistance Fund. The previous $10 million fund was actually suspended over fraud allegations. Interim President John Engler said more than $500,000 of it was linked to fraud. The remaining balance was put towards the $500 million lawsuit settlement between MSU and Nassar survivors. This new fund will help victims with the cost of counseling as well as mental health services. Meantime, a teacher in Grand Rapids Public Schools is accused of possessing child pornography. Philip Powie was arraigned today on 2 counts. We're told the undercover detective was communicating with him in an online chat feature, and that's where investigators say Powie admitted to having child pornography. He's being held in the Kent County Jail pending his next court date. A man from Allendale is hurt following an industrial accident. The sheriff's office says the 48-year-old works for USF Holland and was making a delivery at the Bobcat dealership on 100th Street in Byron Township this morning. While exchanging paperwork, deputies say an employee accidentally ran over the man's foot with a Bobcat skid steer. The man was taken to the hospital, but he is expected to be okay.
A man buys his dream vehicle only to have it taken away weeks later.
Yeah, can you imagine that? And it's all because it turns out that vehicle was stolen, and now he's out nearly $11,000. Fox 17 problem solver Darren Cunningham joins us live in studio with his story. Darren, always so unfortunate to hear about cases like that. Thanks, Darren. Well, still ahead tonight, there's still no deal on border wall funding, meaning no end in sight for the government shutdown.
The president and top Democrats met today, in fact, to try and solve the problem, but it didn't last very long while the president ended up walking out of the meeting.
And policing the U.S.-Mexico border getting very expensive. How much it could cost by the end of this month, straight ahead. That woman's name is Larissa Boyce, believed to be one of the first female gymnasts to tell then MSU head gymnastics coach Kathy Klages about questionable treatments she received from Larry Nassar more than 20 years ago. She says her claims, sadly, never made it to police or administrators at MSU, telling me that if Klages had taken action, she and hundreds of other women wouldn't have the same stories to tell.
She truly enabled him.
Vivid memories for Larissa Boyce, 1997 at Spartan Youth Gymnastics Club, sitting down with Kathy Klages, questioning uncomfortable treatments by Larry Nassar.
She sat down and said, well, I can file something, but it's going to cause a lot of trouble for both you and Dr. Nassar.
Klages never filed a police report and didn't tell Larissa's parents. Larissa says all these years later, she wishes she had gone to anyone else.
I did not want to talk about it with anybody after that night because I felt so humiliated and embarrassed and, stupid for even bringing that up.
Guilted into silence, instead questioning herself.
I mean, he was the gymnastics Dr. God.
And continuing her treatment.
At my next appointment, he sat me down and asked me about it, talked to me about it, and I apologized to him. I said it was all my fault, all a big misunderstanding. I'm so sorry. And then, I hopped back up on the table and he continued to abuse me.
The abuse continued for more than 4 years, even after Larissa stopped doing gymnastics.
I lost all joy in the sport. I felt like I was in trouble every single time I went to practice. I felt like everybody was looking at me and thinking that I was a liar or trying to get attention by saying what I said.
Confusing, buried pain until 2016, when another survivor, Rachel Denhollander, went public with her abuse allegations. Even then, it took Larissa months to come to terms with the truth.
I'm still processing it. It's hard to, after 20 years of believing that I was thinking of it wrong, 20 years of believing that this was medical treatment.
In January, Larissa, along with hundreds of other survivors, showed the world they wouldn't be ignored any longer.
I am letting go of the hold you had in my mind. I am releasing you to God and His judgment. You are in His hands now.
Larissa says writing her victim impact statement for Nassar's sentencing using her name instead of Jane Doe was one of the hardest things she's ever done.
Even during the week of sentencing, I was revising it, adding more to it, and I think even the morning that of the day that I actually gave my statement, I was still revising stuff.
She says having Judge Aquilina presiding over the case made the process almost therapeutic, especially when Nassar didn't want to hear what his victims had to say.
What I did in the state cases was medical, not sexual. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
It was just, are you kidding me? From everything that he put us through and what we're going to have to deal with for years and years, he can't sit in that room and listen to how he's hurt us for a couple days.
But he did listen to them, every single one.
It was a weight lifted off of me. I still feel like there's so much that needs to be done.
I also spoke with Larissa's family about the roller coaster they've been on for the past 2 years. We'll hear from them coming up later on this morning. Doctors and therapists at Mary Free Bed agree this is just miraculous. Lila DeLine not only surviving a usually fatal injury, but now walking, talking, and slowly getting back to the life she once knew.
My husband heard me coming, and he said that he had gotten about partway down the driveway when this woman just hit me.
It happened right in front of her home, and in the blink of an eye, Lila DeLine was fighting for her life.
Basically, internally, she was decapitated. Her skull came off of her spine.
Lila's husband was able to stabilize her neck and help her breathe until paramedics arrived. Once she got to the hospital, Lila could only communicate by blinking her eyes.
We knew that cognitively she was in there, and the reason she wasn't moving was not because of a severe brain injury, it was the spine.
An entire team at Spectrum Health performed several surgeries to realign Lila's neck and reattach her skull with screws, plates, and rods.
What all of my surgeons did was, well, to quote my favorite movie, inconceivable.
One of those surgeons was Dr. James Stubbard, who says while the procedure certainly was daunting, he was optimistic.
I don't know. I truly believe in miracles, and as I always have, but especially do now.
Another unexpected miracle, Lila walking out of the hospital on her own in October. Lila is still working with physical therapists at Mary Free Bed to regain her range of motion, strength, and flexibility.
Gently up. Give me some feedback. I'm just going to go probably to where we were for that deep stretch.
She says the hardest part of her recovery now is asking for help with everyday tasks.
Laundry, dishes, dinner takes me twice as long. I still make good dinners, don't get that wrong, but they just take forever.
But she's looking forward to getting back to the big things.
Fishing, hiking, playing with my kids.
Now, Lila says her accident is the perfect reminder for all drivers out there to just pay attention and that it could likely save a life. So Richard Smith and his son Tyler were gunned down that fateful night at a car dealership in Kalamazoo. In the years that have followed, Lori Smith and Emily Lemmer have certainly been through a whole lot waiting for this case to go to trial. And now that it's over, they say they have a lot of mixed emotions.
It literally felt like that night again.
Lori Smith losing both a husband and son the night of February 20th, 2016, feeling nearly as shocked and devastated to learn a trial that was supposed to last weeks would be over in a matter of minutes.
We found out like 45 minutes before we had to be at the courtroom. Literally, I just started shaking, because I'm like, what is happening right now?
Monday, Jason Dalton pleaded guilty to killing 6 people and seriously injuring 2 others during the massacre, a move that surprised even his defense attorney.
As to that charge, how do you plead?
Guilty.
I feel in a way like we got robbed, like he took the coward way out. I truly believe that he wanted to save his family from knowing the details, and he didn't want to sit through it.
A sentiment echoed by survivor Tiana Carruthers, who posted this message on social media, saying in part, "You at least owe everyone a reason. This isn't closure, not even close." Dalton's lack of remorse adding to the Smiths' frustrations.
I've never heard him say sorry, never seen a tear. And in fact, he was smirking when assistant prosecutor was asking him all those questions.
Emily Lemmer says while she's partly relieved victims and their families won't have to spend weeks in a courtroom, she's missing closure following the deaths of her father and brother.
He's spending the rest of his life in jail, and that won't bring my family back. That won't bring anyone's family back. I just pray that he feels what he did was wrong, and he feels it every day.
Both women say they plan on giving victim impact statements when Dalton is sentenced in February, closing a painful chapter while keeping Richard and Tyler's memory alive.
I just hope that he knows that they're not just targets and that they're people and that they meant everything to a lot of people.
I will never stop talking about them because they will always be as close as they were, just not physically.
Now, both women say they want to thank the prosecuting attorney's office, police, first responders, and the entire Kalamazoo community for helping them through this time. One other person who was recognized by the attorney following that plea, Tyler's girlfriend, Alexis. You may remember she was with him and his dad when they were shot at the car dealership. She hid in a car that night and then dug a phone out of Tyler's pocket to call 911.